Okay, so you worked your way all the way around with that outer layer of your final color, and you finished your last corner there, and we had started kind of in the middle here, so we need to close it off. So what I'm going to do, I've still got my final loop on there from the final 3 here on the corner, and I am going to go into, see that V at the very top of my first part? I'm just going to pop my hook through there, pull through, and pull through like that. Got one left on there, and I'm going to snip it and pull it right through there. And that will be woven in. So there is the first granny square. Beautiful little square. You can see that it's kind of loose because I'm using a size 6mm hook, and I want it to be for the bag. I like there to be a little bit more give to it. If you do want it to be tighter and a lot more dense and defined, you can go down a hook size. Now I'm going to show you how to weave in the ends, because we have all of these little ends and we don't want them popping out once we are done. The nice thing with weaving the ends in is you can also do a little bit of fiddling around to define things. So if things were a little crooked, or you may not have had the exact right spot when you were doing your stitches, you can do a little bit of correction when you're doing the ends. So grab yourself a darning needle. I'm a huge fan of these curved ones, and they have a really big eye, which is wonderful for yarn. There's all different ways to finish things off. I don't know. With cotton, I'm a little more cautious because I try to weave it in 2 directions. So I'm starting, I guess, with one of the petals here. And all I'm doing is I'm going to actually go into, I'm going into the piece of yarn, not just up and down over it, and kind of breaking into in between the plies of the yarn. And I'm going to fire it through a generous amount of that petal. So I've gone through, you can see there, a lot of the strands. And I'm not going into any of the other colors. I'm trying to stay color on color, though it's the same color. It won't show then. I'm just going to pull it down and snug that a little bit. Now if I cut it there, I think that with some moving, and because it's a bag and it's going to be moved around, it will probably undo. So I like to come back through just to give it a little bit more of a lockdown. So I like to come over the last one that I went under, come through there, and then come back along. I've got my finger on the other side to make sure I'm not popping through over there so it won't be visible. I want to stay within the strands. And I'm just going to run it right back up through the center. See how you can't see any of the needle on this side, so none of it will be visible. And I'm going to pull it back through. And I just feel like it keeps it more snug if you have that double pass through. Because you look at, like with wool, it can be clingier and it kind of felts to itself over time. Cotton isn't going to do that. So that there is through twice, and then I give it a little snip. And so you can't see the end. You can't see where it was. You can't see it on this side. And that should be a decent little end, and it should not make a reappearance at any point while you're using the bag. So I'm going to do the same thing for the rest of these. So I will thread my needle, tuck them in. The same with the turquoise one here, or the teal one. I'm going to try and stay within the teal. Let me do one of those. I can show you what I mean. I just follow the crocheting so that it stays within the color. So for this one, I'm just going to loop it through there. I'm going to stay in the stitches. Sometimes it can be a little stubborn. To stay within the stitches, I'm just going to run it along there a little bit. And that's really good and tight, so you can tell when it's tight like that, it's less likely to pop back out on you. I'm going to come around there again backwards, go through, and that's really tight getting the needle through. Wow, it's astonishingly tight. There we go. That definitely will not be coming out anytime soon. So there, I pull it through. I can trim it right down flush with the flower. And then that one has disappeared into it, and you can't see it on the other side either. And the same with the purple. I'm going to show you how to do the outer edge. Now we are going to be stitching the whole thing together, so you really aren't going to see the outer edge specifically, but what I try to do for the outer edge here, just to keep it nice and flat and even. And I mean, if you're doing blankets or things, you definitely want. So see how that kind of sticks up a little bit? I want to bring it through the next one and loop it down. And see how that just brings it down so it's flush with everything else. And then I'm going to run it down here in the dark purple. I'm just going to bring it into kind of the dentist part. You want it to stay nice and dense there. I'm going to pull it in. Try to never pull it too tight, because you can end up cinching everything in and actually changing the shape of your project. And then I'm going to break the yarn a little bit there and come in again and come up through and trim it flush with my square. And there, you can't even see where it is on either side, so you're good. And then I'll do the same for these three ends, and then I will have a cute little square. And then that was the first one. So if we go to our chart, I need to do 7 more that are that exact color configuration. And then I will move down to the next one and do 3 that are this color configuration. And then only 2 in this third one. So once you have your little pile of squares, you can come back and we will look at assembling this whole thing so that you actually have a bag. Have fun.